we're putting a fantasy and sports betting spin on the latest NFL news and happenings, right? So it's March. That means NFL free agency now just 2 weeks away. A lot of big names are on the market, not to mention the quarterback carousel that could take place via trades. So right now, according to overthecap.com, it's the Dolphins, Jags, and Chargers and Bengals with the most cap space, all $40 million or more. So Pearce, is there like a future from one of these teams that you like before free agency? The odds might get shorter here.
Well, if it's March 1st, we might as well just go crazy and take the Jags to win the Super Bowl. But just from a betting perspective, you don't really want to put a safe bet. I mean, if you go with a safe bet, then you need to put a sizable amount of money down. That means you're going to have that money tied up for the next 8 months. So it's wiser just to take a wild shot, put a little bit down on a team that's, doesn't have the greatest odds. But here's how the Jags could do it. Like you mentioned, they've got money. So they can go buy a receiver and they can buy an offensive lineman. They also have 12 picks, 4 in the first 3 rounds. They can go get another offensive lineman, maybe beef up the defense a little bit. The defense wasn't really the problem. The defense kept them in games. They don't have to work too much on that side. They just got to improve the offensive line and get a wide receiver. Trevor Lawrence is going to get better. They've got a better coach. I know it's extreme to think that they can win the Super Bowl, but in the AFC South, it's not that hard for them to add a couple components with the money they have and the picks to get them in contention. They sneak into the playoffs. Anything can happen.
Pearce would choose this on the day that Emerson isn't here. Like, he's just going to be beside himself when he hears that. Geoff, you want to give us as hot a take as that?
I mean, Emerson literally probably just punched his own TV right now. He's so excited. No, I do kind of like it, though. I mean, Pearce makes a good point. I mean, this is the time of the year where, if you're getting big odds, like any of these teams with huge odds, they could see their numbers get chopped in half. Let's say the Jags get a good graded draft, everyone likes it, and then they go sign Chris Godwin and a couple players, but like, oh, the Titans aren't that good. All of a sudden, the Jags odds go from plus 750 to like plus 400 to win the division. And I mean, I'm not going to get on the Bengals. The Bengals are still coming off the Super Bowl win. Their odds are inflated. The Dolphins, they can spend all the money they want. They're still in the same conference or the same division, as the Buffalo Bills. So I don't really see anything changing for the Dolphins. I don't care how much money they spend. I like the head coaching move with Doug Peterson, and I think there's a little bit of value with the Jags there at plus 750 to win that division. But my favorite target here is the Chargers. This is a team that what was their biggest weakness last year? All it was stopping the run. Now, the one issue here, has been, on the free agent market, that there's not that many run stuffers available. So, they could go out and get a guy like Calais Campbell for 1 year, DJ Jones. That'll still leave the money to get like a Chris Godwin in free agency, which they should absolutely do because they're going to have to be putting up and staying on pace with the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is a long way of me saying I like the Chargers at plus 1,200 to win the division right now.
We're actually going to talk about Chris Godwin right now. So another team with potentially $30 million in cap space, the Broncos, they're a team to keep an eye on. So yesterday, their GM said that their wide receivers are loaded with talent, but they have to be better, and they know that. So Geoff, even with Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton, could the Broncos be a destination for top free agents, Chris Godwin, maybe Devontae Adams?
I mean, they could, and I mean, I like Courtland Sutton as a player, but I mean, like, this really hasn't worked out. I mean, he's either been injured or he's just been saddled. He just hasn't been able to get over the hump with poor quarterbacks. I don't know if it's a Courtland Sutton thing or if it's just, the Broncos' offensive schemes has been so bad. Jerry Jeudy is a player who I thought was just, probably getting a little bit too much heat coming out of college. He hasn't really put it together either. So seeing them go out and spend money on like a Godwin to just try and, get some juice on their offense that has just been absolutely stale and dragging this team down the last couple of years. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I think that it's actually a very likely scenario because whoever they go after as a free agent, and I mean, now they've been linked to Russell Wilson as well, they have to make it an appealing prospect to come there. And I mean, how much more appealing can you make it than by signing perhaps the top free agent, in Chris Godwin? I don't think Devontae Adams is going anywhere. We can talk about it now, but I mean, the Packers will just franchise him, or he'll just come back once Aaron Rodgers signs. So I think Godwin is a very likely target, and I think you'll see his name linked to numerous teams. The Bucs don't have a ton of space. So, yeah, it's definitely potential that the Broncos do that. They obviously need to address the quarterback position first, but how do you attract a good quarterback? It's by signing someone like Chris Godwin.
Pearce, do you agree?
I do. I'm on the same page. If Judy and Sutton can stay healthy and live up to their potential, then they don't need a wide receiver. But that's a big if. We haven't seen Judy and Sutton stay healthy. The bigger question is, yeah, they need a quarterback. That's who they need to pick up. There aren't really any in free agency, so maybe you consider moving Judy or Sutton and trading him. I think Green Bay, like Geoff said, should keep everything together. They should franchise tag Devontae Adams, but where they stand right now, they can't even afford to franchise tag Devontae Adams. So Green Bay may be forced to make some moves. Maybe they trade Aaron Rodgers over for Jerry Jeudy. That way Jordan Love has a receiver that he can pass to. I mean, it's not the worst thing that could happen. But even if the Broncos do get Aaron Rodgers or get Russell Wilson, the problem isn't the receiving, and it may not necessarily be the quarterback play. Teddy Bridgewater had a 29% pressure rate. That was the third worst in the league. It doesn't matter who you bring in at quarterback. If you're not blocking for him, he's not going to do anything. And the receivers aren't going to be able to do anything. And you might not even need a quarterback. If you use that money in that cap space to fix their offensive line, then an average quarterback can probably work with Sutton and Judy in this tandem of running backs. Or if you get another quarterback as well, it's going to be really good. But it's not receiver where they should be going. Offensive line is where the Broncos need help.
All right, speaking of quarterbacks, March is also the time for contract extension talks through the media. The Cardinals want Kyler Murray to be their franchise quarterback. Kyler Murray wants to be the Cardinals' franchise quarterback, according to his agent, who went public with a statement that was very long and basically said the Cardinals need to pay the man. So, Pearce, the question becomes how the Cardinals view him amongst the rest of the league's top quarterbacks, like assuming that they work out a deal here and that Murray doesn't hold out for a new contract. How do you feel about his odds at plus 1,800 to win MVP?
No, can't do it.
Okay.
You can't stay healthy. You've got to stay healthy if you are going to win this award. You've got to play the full season, except if you may miss a game for COVID. But if you miss a game for injury, you just don't win MVP. And he even changed his style and still was unable to play the full season. Let's say that for whatever reason, everyone doesn't care that he misses a game this year, or maybe he plays the full season. He changed his approach. He's much more conservative. He's not padding the stats like we would expect. And it's hard to pad the stats in that division. And then another issue is his weapons aren't that great. He has Hopkins, but Hopkins doesn't stay healthy. And then everybody else around him is just pretty good. He's got, like I mentioned, he's not running like crazy. They're not throwing like crazy. I don't see him winning this award. I also don't see him staying healthy.
All right, Geoff, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same story. I mean, if Kyler he's shown marginal improvement as a passer. If you look deeper into the stats, he almost pushed for 70% completion rate. You know, his touchdown rate went up a tiny bit. The interception rate in his third year went up a tiny bit. But we're not talking elite numbers. Like when you think of Kyler Murray as a passer, what does he really do that's like better than anyone else? Nothing. I mean, he's not more efficient than Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have a better deep ball than Mahomes or Josh Allen. And these are all names he's going to have to beat. These are all names that Kyler Murray will be up against for the MVP trophy. So you might be looking at him, he's double the odds of Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has a way better chance of winning this award. And Kyler Murray, as Pearce alluded to, the rushing stats can only carry him so far because the Cardinals don't commit to him as a pure rushing quarterback. They don't do the Baltimore Ravens thing where they say, okay, yeah, we're rushing Lamar 14 times, try and stop us. As soon as Kyler gets like a little tingle in his hamstring or something, they say, pull it back. We're going to be conservative now. I also don't really like this offensive scheme for anything for like an MVP for the quarterback. I think it actually limits them how much Cliff Kingsbury runs. So no, completely out on Kyler MVP.
All right, both of you in agreement on that one. Well, on Sunday, Tampa Bay lost another Pro Bowler to retirement, this time guard Ali Marpet. So without a quarterback, a new hole in the O-line, potentially without Chris Godwin, the Bucs' odds to win this out still sit at plus 130. So is it time to start fading the Bucs here, Geoff? By the way, Ryan Jensen and Alex Kappa are both set to be free agents too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised that the odds are still sitting like this. I mean, plus 130. There's a lot that can move in this division. I mean, look, who knows? Like Matt Ryan could retire or something, you know, and Atlanta could end up trading for Russell Wilson. I mean, I don't know how you could potentially bet the Buccaneers right now with them up against the cap, having no quarterback. I know the Saints are in the exact same situation. I realize that. But you look at both these teams, there's nothing stopping the Saints from getting the marquee quarterback over the Bucs. I mean, the Bucs right now is a team that's just hemorrhaging players that's potentially going to be losing their top end free agent. I mean, at least the Saints, they've they've gone through, like they've lost Sean Payton. Everyone knows what's happening there. So I don't know. I mean, this is a pretty hard division to figure. I don't really know if I want to make a case for like Carolina just because of some of their personnel decisions, but I think New Orleans at plus 260 kind of has to be the better bet right now than Tampa Bay. And at the very least, you can certainly say, and I feel comfortable saying, there's no way I'm touching the Bucks right now. I think that number you'll see get bigger as free agency goes on.
All right, Pearce, what's your take on this one?
You can't bet it at that number. But I don't want to rule out Tampa and Bruce Arians. They still have a pretty solid defense. And I also don't want to overreact to the offensive line. Cincinnati didn't have an offensive line, and they went to the Super Bowl. The Rams, with Andrew Whitworth, who is so old that his rookie season they were wearing leather helmets, and they didn't seem to have a problem winning games. So I don't want to overreact to the offensive line. The bigger issue is they don't have a quarterback. It looks like they're going to lose some of their skill position players. Fournette didn't look that great last season. Ronald Jones isn't that great, couldn't stay healthy, so the running game wasn't really there. They've just got too many holes to fill at this moment. Maybe through free agency and draft, we'll have a better idea of what they can do. But without a quarterback, I'm not going to go anywhere near this team right now.